Hi guys, it's me, Teresa Perrin. I just wanted to give you an update on MMAT and MMTLP. The S-1 became effective for MMTLP, so we're going to discuss the filings. We're going to discuss a lot of questions I've been seeing out there. We're going to discuss some FUD and just do an overall review of the stocks and where they stand. So let's get started. Please remember, nothing I say is financial advice, and always do your own DD. All right, guys, let's start with the Butcher of Wall Street's comment that a lot of people are discussing on StockTwits. He says, some people are not aware or trying to pump MMTLP, so I'll explain. MMTLP shouldn't be trading. It's on OTC because market makers made it so, without approval from MMAT, in order to create bag holders. No, guys, I don't think that the reason was to create bag holders, but yes, it's true. MMTLP never should have been trading. Torch holders that were issued the dividend will be the only to receive one. That is incorrect. Anybody holding MMTLP will receive the dividend. Now, as far as what I've read, that is my understanding. So let me be perfectly clear. That is my opinion from everything I have seen so far in the filings. Torch holder. Oh, sorry. Then he says the important part is that MMTLP is pink sheet OTC trash being pumped by current bag holders looking to trade their bad bets with your cash. I would totally disagree with that because MMTLP is supposed to be a dividend, guys, and it was never supposed to be traded to begin with, right? This was issued as basically a slot holder for you to receive dividends from the sale of the gas and oil that's on their property that they're selling currently to Nextbridge. Now, the way the whole thing occurred, yada, 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 there's a million different ways we can look at that. But ultimately, if you're still holding MMTLP at the end of this, you will get a share of the privately owned Nextbridge company, which could entitle you to dividends. It could entitle you to fair value. You know, there's a lot of speculation on what exactly that entails. And guys, you'd have to read the filing in detail for that. I myself only have a small investment of 300 shares in MMTLP. So as far as reading line for line, sorry guys, somebody else will do that for you, but I will explain to you a lot that I do know about this. But remember, again, this is all my opinion and it's from the DD that I have personally done. So, if you do own MMTLP, the benefit to MMTLP, guys, is that there's only so many shares that you will see registered on the S-1 statement. So the problem began, in my opinion, when the brokers decided to short the crap out of Torchlight, which then had this dividend assigned to it. Well, what were they going to do? Because there wasn't enough shares to cover the dividend, in my opinion. So they made it OTC tradable. This never should have been tradable. This was not, the way MMAT intended for this to go down. This was brought on by whoever, the market makers, the hedge funds, whoever dug themselves this deep hole. And they started trading it on OTC. Well, don't you find that a bit odd considering that MMAT is a NASDAQ listed stock? Now, guys, a lot of people had no clue when they saw MMTLP in their account what it was. They just saw it sitting there at $1. Lots of people sold. So what did that do? It allowed the market makers to get shares that they needed to cover their screw-ups, in my opinion. No one wants to get sued, allegedly, supposedly. At any rate, there's only so many shares of this company that are going to be distributed, and they're going to go to whoever owns the MMTLP stock. Now, if market makers cannot get their hands on this, they're going to have to entice people to sell by driving up this price, right? Because everything needs to be covered before the end of the S1. That's why this date is so important. And unfortunately, I'm going to show you what came through, which was the effective dates. However, we do not have a date yet on that paperwork for when this is all going to come to an end. But you better believe that if this indeed is true, what not just myself, but a lot of other people who have been in this since the beginning believe, this could essentially run. Okay, now people have to decide, and you're going to have to go to someone else for the DD. I heard that Bird Lady is excellent. Guys, I don't know because, like I said, I have 300 shares. This is not a big investment in my portfolio. So I just don't care enough about it to do more research than what I'm doing to help you along. But that being said, this was not created to make bag holders. This traded at $1 for a very, very long time, okay? And a lot of people sold out of frustration, even knowing that back then people were thinking it was going to be valued around $20 a share. Now I hear people are saying it's probably between 40 and 60. Then I hear people pumping it to, 100, 300. My brother called me today. He was like, do you think MMTLP is going to go to 300? No, I don't. Sorry to say, but no. And, but I could be wrong. I mean, I have to say that I do believe in the thesis behind MMTLP. So could it? Yeah, it's a possibility. Do I think it? No, guys. And I'm not going to lead anyone down the bag holding, road. Could it go to 500? I guess anything's possible. Could it go to only $20? Yes, it could. I have no way of knowing, and neither does anybody else. So please don't believe the FUD that people are saying about price. But there's a real problem here, and that's going to come to tuition. And it reminds me a lot of Torchlight. I'm not of Torchlight, of Support, SPRT, that became GREE. Go back and do some research on that, and that might help you to understand the situation here a lot better. Okay? They're stuck now. So that is the benefit that we have. So this is not retail being tricked into buying it and backing it as they've been lied to repeatedly by some Twitter influencers. I'm sorry, Butcher of Wall Street. I have a lot of respect for you. But I disagree with this, and I don't think you understand the full situation of this. And I don't think that this was out to create bag holders. Will it create bag holders? Yeah, what stock doesn't when they run? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm being honest. But if you get too greedy and you don't sell, then you're left holding a bag. That's the reality of the situation, guys. But you need to know what you hold. You need to know what it's worth. And you need to decide, are you going to hold it for the potential value of NextBridge? Guys, I don't know how to help you with that one because personally, I don't know if it's valuable or it's not. So please do some research on that if you have decided to hold. But the SEC date has become effective as of November 18th, 2022. Okay. So this is a positive for us. I believe that it was 14 or 15 days from that date that this should come to an end. But again, I want to see dates. Look at page 4 and continue to look at this. On the SEC filing and wait for these dates to pop in here. For some reason, they are not in there as of yet. If you want to know how to find this form yourself and go look, guys, go to sec.gov, type in the document, word, or phrase that you want. The company name or ticker that it's going to be under is NextBridge Hydrocarbons Inc. Okay, just go to NextBridge Hydrocarbons Inc. and you'll be able to see these forms yourself. So you can see the effect 11/18/2022. The S1-A registration was filed again on 11/9/2022. Okay, now this was filed multiple times, so they were just waiting for this effect, which they finally got. Okay, so it is effective according to the SEC. Now, there is only 165,523,363 shares of NextBridge Hydrocarbons Inc. Guys, here's where the stuff gets crazy. People are saying it shorted 80 million. Go back and watch the last video that I did on MMAT and MMTLP, and I show you it was 6 million something according to Benzinga. Now, is that accurate? Who knows? Because I'm going to be honest with you, from what I see from Fintel, from any of these ones, or text, guys, take it with a grain of salt because all it is a tool. It's only as good as who's reporting it. And do I believe anyone at Wall Street to report any of their shorts or anything else? No. I'm sorry, I do not. It's not required to be reported. It could be 80 million. Heck, it could be more than 165 million for all we know. I hate to say it, but it's really a reality because this shouldn't have been traded to begin with. So you need to ask yourself, why was it trading? Okay? This could be worth God knows what because they could be really screwed, or it could be worth whatever retail's driving it up to. I have no way of knowing that. Nobody really does. So if they're telling you anything else, please take it with a grain of salt. Oh, sorry, that was my response to this person on Twitter. But I pretty much said to you exactly what I said. I said, MMTLP should never have been traded. Why did market makers do this? In my opinion, because they shorted Torchlight so badly and had so many naked shorts on MMTLP that they needed to cover before the dividend was paid. They had no choice but to make it tradable in order to cover this, taking advantage of many that sold, not knowing what it was or lost their shares due to margin calls. What they didn't account for was those that did know the value, buying it up. I said bought it up, but I meant like buying lots of more shares, right? Creating the situation we currently have. The share count must be correct to equal the same number of shares allotted prior to the ticker stopping trade, which is why the date on that effective statement is so important. That is what will make this run. Lord only knows how many naked or synthetic shares exist. Now, guys, that is my true believing, okay? That is exactly summarizing what I just said to you regarding my comment on the Butcher of Wall Street. I'm sorry, I just don't want to skip anything. Okay, now I want to talk to you about insider buying, and I'm sorry, but this came out really dark, but it says, volatile metamaterials MMAT closed up 30% in Monday's trading after regulatory filing late Friday showed Chairman John Harding last week bought 126,000 shares of the company at $1.74 each through his Harding Partners affiliate. Okay, now there's lots of insider buying going on, and there's a reason I want to show you this. All right, so here's John Harding. Here is the registration statement or the Form 4 filed with the SEC for his 126,000 shares that he bought at $1.74. Now, here's two others, and these are rights to buy, guys, interestingly enough. Kenneth Rice acquired a right to buy, so like a stock option, right, for $1.31 up to whatever that says, 68,830 shares, okay? So he hasn't bought them yet, but he has the right to buy them at $1.31 up to that amount. And then there's one more. This is Jonathan Waldron, who got a stock option to buy, same thing, $1.31 up to 904,826 shares, okay? So, and these options are fully vested, so they can buy these whenever they want to, okay? It's very important you understand that. Okay, so there's a prospectus filed for 250,000 shares of MMAT. Okay. Now, there's a lot of FUD being spread about this. Let me tell you why I think that this $250,000 worth of MMAT is being filed. I think it has to do with these rights to acquire by the directors and the insider shares just purchased, because it can be common stock, preferred stock, debt securities, depository shares, warrants, subscription rights, purchase contracts, or units. Okay, so perhaps this is to cover the shares for them. Perhaps they're going to do an offering. There's really no way for us to know this. Anything's a possibility. If this price runs up, it'd probably be in the company's best interest to do an offering, which is why we see them. But again, that creates bag holders because people always sell out of fear. Now, guys, with all these insiders buying, do you think that they're going to just dilute this company for no reason? Would that make sense? Probably not. Is it possible? Absolutely. but I think you're going to see signs of the stock dropping, of them selling if they plan to do this to get out first. At least I would think that would be in their best interest. But will they? I don't know. Maybe they think the MMAT is very undervalued at the price it's at. But I think that they know that retail's talking and that MMAT is heavily shorted as well and could be another squeeze candidate. So they're preparing. All right. Anything's possible. You need to keep that in the back of your mind. I just want to be honest with my followers and show you that these things are out there and give you different reasoning behind them that it could be. Again, I am not the company. I can only tell you what I see and my thoughts on it. Lots of people are still asking which firms you can purchase shares on. So I found this online. You can buy them at Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, but you have to call the fixed income desk specifically. First Trade, Q Trade, E Trade, Chase Bank, and ASU ComSec. Don't know what that is, but I think it's in Australia. Anyways, guys, this is where you can buy MMTLP because you cannot buy them on forums like Robinhood, Moo, or Webull. Unfortunately, they don't sell these OTC shares, so you can only get them on these companies. But you can definitely get them on TD Ameritrade for sure. Fidelity, like I said, you need to call. The others I don't have firsthand experience with, but they are here. So today, MMAT was up 30%. They are down 2.71% in the after hours. Completely normal to have a pullback, guys. Volume was 67.29 million, which was essentially 7.5 times its normal volume of 9.41 million. Remember, they have a free float of 267.13 million. So it's not completely off the wall, but that is quite a bit of shares to be trading. Keep that in mind. Now going to MMTLP, they are up 32.99%. Guys, this is OTC. A couple of things you need to keep in mind. They do not trade OTC in pre-market or after hours. I see comments about people saying, why hasn't the price changed? Well, it can't change in the after hours or pre-market because you can't buy or sell it then, guys, only during market hours. The benefit to OTC is there are no halts, so they cannot halt this if it starts running like crazy. So that is a good thing for us, especially if it does squeeze. Now, MMAT, real quickly, the short interest is reported at 11.15% with 2.29 days to cover. And there are no shares left to borrow. Yes, you heard me correctly. 0 shares left, guys. The cost to borrow is 15.99%, which to me seems kind of low given the situation. I expect to see that being higher over the coming days. The short volume today was pretty darn high. 56.31% was the short volume ratio. The average has been between 48.29 and 61.21% over the past 2 weeks. And tomorrow they have 111,113 FTDs due. But guys, I do not believe that is accurate because you can see there are days when there were 0 shares, and then the lowest day that is accountable is 4,469. But again, there are days in here where there were 0. So I do not think FTDs are going to come into play at this time. However, could they in the upcoming weeks? Absolutely. However, as we stand for the next 2 weeks or so, not really going to be an issue. So anyways, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your night. And please remember to smash that like button. I'd greatly